Today, I have chosen the topic to talk about the lessons that we can learn from trees for spiritual growth. When I chose this topic, I did not think that we will come to this place to have this puja. Usually we have this puja in the bigger hall. But it just happened that we are all under this beautiful, serene both trees to talk about the lessons that we can learn from trees. It's a great pleasure for all of us to be under these beautiful, serene trees to talk about what we can learn from trees in terms of our spiritual practice. And both the trees help us to remember a very important quality that we all should grow. As you know, the first teachings the Buddha gave us is known as the Dhammacakka Pavattana Sutta, the discourse on the turning of the wheel of the Dhamma, that we will learn during the next full moon, the Asala or Asala full moon day. But actually, that is the first sermon given by the Buddha, but not the first teaching. Yes. The first teaching given by the Buddha is not actually the sutta, that is the first sermon. But the first teaching the Buddha gave was actually gratitude, gratefulness. Do you know how the Buddha gave that teaching? It's a non-verbal teaching. On the second week of his enlightenment, he wanted to show his appreciation, his gratitude to the Bodhi tree that gave him support, shelter and everything when he achieved enlightenment. By the time Buddha achieved enlightenment, everybody has left him. Of course, now we have millions of people to be around the Buddha. Millions of people to, venerate the Buddha, be around the Buddha. But when he was striving for enlightenment, particularly in his last few weeks, when he achieved his enlightenment, there was nobody around him. He was by himself. The only support he had was this beautiful tree. It is this tree that gave him shelter, support for his enlightenment. So after he achieved enlightenment, first week, he simply rejoiced, experienced the bliss of enlightenment, didn't want to go anywhere, just stayed there experiencing, enjoy that freedom and the joy of enlightenment. And second week, he thought, who helped me to achieve this enlightenment? And he felt deep appreciation for that tree. And then, what he did, he stepped out, he turned towards the tree, and he was gazing at the tree as a way of showing his appreciation, showing his gratitude. For whole 1 week, he was doing that. With gratefully, with gratitude and appreciation, he was gazing at the tree. And so that is the first lesson we can learn from the trees. Whenever we see trees, and of course Buddha tree, and that was the first teaching that Buddha gave. That by that time he hasn't spoken a word to anybody. He hasn't given his teaching in terms of giving sermon, but he gave that lesson, gave that teaching in by doing it through his example, to be grateful to everybody, every condition that supports our life. But later, Buddha actually appreciated trees as friends, true friends for all beings. The characteristic of a true friend is actually friends are ready to give support whenever supports are needed. And usually trees give supports. I mean, the trees are considered as such friends, according to the teachings of the Buddha. Whoever cuts a branch of a tree after even sitting under that shade is considered by the Buddha a person of ingratitude, ungrateful person. But one important saying that we should remember from the Buddha is that one day Buddha advised all of his disciples to be like a banyan tree. Do you understand the meaning? Be like a banyan tree. Then he explained. And this is a tree. Have you seen a huge banyan tree? Usually banyan tree grows into a very huge big tree. It covers a large area and it has a lot of branches, a lot of leaves. It's like a house if you go inside. And even the roots are coming from the branches and going all the way down. So a huge banyan tree can serve like a meeting place, can give us shade. And what really Buddha meant here is that during those days, there were long ways that people walk, sometimes through caravans, sometimes by foot. They walk long distances, along long ways. And there were no guest houses or rest houses or hotels those days. But along these long ways, there were banyan trees that served as a place for resting, place to refresh themselves, or the travelers who travel so many miles, so when they get tired, and they will find a banyan tree alongside the roads, and they will rest there, and they will take some time to rest, and they also drink something, and they enjoy the shade of the tree, and refresh themselves, and they continue to start their journey. And there are also many other birds and other animals who used to live in this banyan tree. So banyan tree provides such a great comfort and support for all beings, and particularly for travelers. Then Buddha said that be like a banyan tree. What he really meant is that we may find many people in our life who are very tired, who are depressed, who need help. We may find so many people. For those people, be a banyan tree. Banyan tree simply provides a place to rest, simply provides a sense of comfort. And the banyan tree will not solve all the problems of those travelers, but it simply provides a place of protection, a place of trust that they can simply rest. But Buddha has told us, sometimes we may not be able to solve all the problems of the people who come to us, but we can simply provide an opportunity for them to just share their problems. Simply be a person, simply listen to their problems. If you can definitely help. If you can definitely provide instructions and advices. But at least if you can be a person simply who is ready to listen to others and be a trustworthy person that they can share their problems and troubles and you will not misuse them. And that's a very good image we should have in our mind. At least if we can be a banyan tree to 5, 6, 7 people in this world, how wonderful. That they feel a trust in us. They feel that we can go to that person and at least tell my problem. And we are ready at least to listen, pay attention, listen with care, and simply give our ear and be a support, simply to share their problems. And if it is possible, we help and give advices, but at least, and sometimes people only need that kind of help. They may not need big help. They may not even need instruction sometimes. They just simply need someone to listen to them, someone to understand their conditions. So it's not a difficult thing to be a banyan tree. For those travelers, for those tired travelers, those trees are a big help. Sometimes spending 5 minutes for somebody, simply giving our full attention to somebody and letting that person know that we understand his condition, that's enough for that person to be energetic and move to the other step of his life. So remember the banyan tree. Banyan tree beside a long road. There are many tired people, many people whose faces are tired, faces are looking for somebody to listen. And at least for few people. We may not be able to be a banyan tree for many people. We know that as monks, sometimes we have to, like I was telling Bhante Siridhamma, and how many people come to us. But sometimes we may not be able to be a banyan tree for many people. But at least, within our capacity, if we can be a banyan tree to few people in this world, that's good enough. And that helps our own practice too. That is the first advice from the Buddha, be a banyan tree. And there's also another advice from the Buddha related to trees. That is, one day Buddha said that meditate like a tree. Again, meditate like a tree. What Buddha meant here is actually a tree will provide its fruits, flowers and shades to all creatures without any discrimination. And Buddha referred to this tree when it comes to with related to meditation on loving kindness. Buddha asked, when we practice loving kindness, meditate like a tree. The tree is open always for any creatures. Beautiful birds, ugly birds, noisy birds, silent birds. Birds can sing well, birds can make bad noises. All birds can come to a tree, and tree is ready to accept all of them. When it provides fruits and flowers, it provides to all beings without any discrimination. So in the same way, when we practice loving kindness, Buddha asks us to train our mind like this tree and radiate our loving kindness with no discriminations, with no exception, no discrimination, no boundaries, wishing each and every person well-being, peace and happiness, opening our heart like a tree. The other instruction that Buddha has given to us is to see the process of a tree and understand our spiritual practice similar to that process. How a tree will grow and finally give fruits and flowers. Our spiritual practice has also been described in the same way. According to this simile, our spiritual practice starts with the seed. Of course, we need a seed for a tree to grow. And what is the seed for us in our spiritual practice? Anybody can guess what is the seed for the spiritual practice? There's this Pali saying, Saddha Bijang. Bijang means seed. Saddha is the seed. Everything starts with Saddha. Saddha means deep appreciation of the Buddha, appreciation of the Dhamma, and appreciation of the Sangha. Our trust, our confidence, and our appreciation of the Triple Gem is called Saddha. Sometimes we translate this as faith, but it's more like confidence and appreciation and admiration. So if you don't have admiration to the great qualities of the Buddha, if you don't have admiration to the great wisdom of the Buddha, if you don't have admiration to the Sangha, you cannot even start your practice, because there's no confidence, nothing to hold you. So saddha is the seed, our saddha. The stronger the saddha, and the tree will grow really well. And then, the other parts of the tree, after you have the saddha, and then you will start to grow, as long as it is in a fertilized ground, definitely. And then the first thing that will grow are the roots. What are our roots? What is the foundation of our spiritual practice? Saddha is the seed, but then we need a foundation. Sila, definitely. Sila is the foundation. Sila is the roots. The moral behavior, the moral principles. That is how we will root it to this spiritual practice. We start this spiritual practice as a way to overcome suffering. As a way to overcome suffering. Then we make sure that we will stop certain behaviors that will generate suffering to others and to oneself. If you need happiness, and if you want to overcome suffering, you cannot give suffering to others and expect happiness. So therefore we decide there are certain behaviors, verbal and physical behaviors in our life that create suffering in other people and also bring suffering to others. Then we willingly, voluntarily, we stop those actions and observe moral precepts. So we follow moral principles in our life. So we make our life simplified. By observing precepts, we make our life less complicated. And that is the root. Those are the roots. The stronger are the roots, easier for trees to grow. So the stronger are our moral principles. We are following moral principles with an aim, with meaning, not simply because it is, accepted, it is found somewhere in the books, but as a part of this training of our mind. We are voluntarily doing it because our goal is to overcome suffering, and we don't want to create suffering in others and also in ourselves. So we simply stop those actions that produce suffering. Killing, stealing, lying, sexual misconduct, all kind of behaviors. We purposely stop. And those are the roots. The moral principles, sila, is the roots of a tree. And then we, of course, find the trunk. That's the other part. And what would be our trunk? Yeah, after sila, what comes next? Huh? Yes, samadhi, bhavana, the meditation, mental culture. Once our roots are thoroughly grounded, thoroughly grown, and then we are ready to grow the trunk. And because we need roots to have all the fertilizers, all the ingredients for the trunk to grow. And after we establish ourselves in a moral behavior, then of course it is easy for us to engage in changing the mind, growing the mind, and developing all good mental qualities, meditation. And that's the real growth. That's the real growth, the trunk. That is the stability of the tree. That's the strength of the tree. And we develop the strength of the mind, irrespective of what is happening around us. We develop the skill to maintain our peace, maintain our principles, like the trunk of a tree. No matter what kind of winds, what kind of external disturbances come to the tree, the trunk can stand still. And that stability comes from mental culture through bhavana, meditation. And that is the trunk. And slowly, we develop the trunk. The bigger and bigger it becomes, the longer we practice with our roots, not without roots. Then of course, when the trunk is well grown, we will have nice branches and nice leaves and everything, and that definitely provides shades and protection to all other beings. The more we are strong in our practice, the more services, more benefits that we can do to everybody. Of course, if you want to be a banyan tree, if you want to help somebody, first you have to grow nice branches, nice trunk, nice leaves. Without having nice branches and leaves, a big shade area, how you are going to be a banyan tree to anybody? If you are a tree that with less branches, less leaves, you will only provide a little bit of shade to others. First, we need to have inner growth first before we want to help and be helpful to others. And the spiritual growth is the way. So we really have to have good roots and then have to have a really healthy trunk that will help us to grow all the nice branches and nice leaves with all nice shades, that we are ready to give shade and protection and help to so many beings, so many people. Without having that stability within us, it's very difficult for us to help anybody. Instead of helping, we will make things worse for them. And then we start to develop this trunk, and with branches and leaves, we start to help and provide shades and protection, support to others. And as a result, what's going to happen? It will take some time, but eventually the tree will start to give flowers. It will bloom and it will give fruits. It will take some time. First, we have to make sure that our roots are protected, roots are well grounded. We have to make sure that our trunk is healthy, is growing every day. And we have to make sure that with that practice we help all other beings who happen to come to us. When you continue to do that, one day, may not be within a week or 2 or few months, one day, the flowers will appear. And that is the wisdom, realization, stages of enlightenment. The fruits will appear. The fruits of deliverance, liberation will appear. So the flowers and fruits are considered the insightful knowledges, the liberation, the final emancipation, the enlightenment. So we are trees. So you have to make sure that our roots are thoroughly grounded, our roots are thoroughly penetrated to the earth. Do we have enough roots for this tree to grow? We have to ask that question. And are we growing our trunk well? Is our trunk healthy? Stable? And do we have enough branches and leaves that we can provide so much support and help to others? If that's so, continue. One day the flowers will bloom. You will have a shining place. You have a shining joy within you, that you will have insightful knowledges. And you will have this wonderful insight and wisdom that Buddha discovered. And that is the culmination of this whole process, this organism. And we are in the process of spiritual evolution. That's the evolution that we have. The spiritual evolution is not a natural evolution. We have to make effort to make that evolution. So we are in the process of evolving like a tree. We need to continue to strengthen our practice, our moral behavior, our meditation, and continue to help others, continue to provide our support to others, be kind, be open like a tree, and that will help us to one day to achieve the highest level of evolution, and we ourselves as an organism will flourish to the highest level, will bloom flowers and fruits one day. So I hope, just like this Bodhi tree, just like any other tree, may we all grow like a tree and will bloom one day.